Hello there, folks. This quick example today is going to show you how to take a temperature measurement from an analog input card on the back of a new Graphite HMI and display that up on the RedLion screen. And so what we've got here is one of the new Graphite screens, and the Graphites have I/O cards that you can put on the back of them. And so the first thing we need to do here is in the lower left-hand corner of Crimson, we need to go down here to Modules and click on that section. So we click on Modules, and then right up here, this little button right here is typically where you'll do a new page, new tag, new program. In this case, it's where we're going to select the new module. So we click here, and in my build of Crimson today, you can see there is a 4-channel universal isolated analog inputs. That's what I'm going to use here. I'll click OK. And if you notice, you've got 4 different input channels across the top here that you can configure to be either RTD, temperature, milliamps, or voltage analog input signals. I'm using input 1 here connected to a TypeT thermocouple. So I'll hit the pole down here and I will select thermocouple, and then I'm going to make sure that the type is correct to match the algorithm for the element that I have. So I'll hit the pole down here and I'll select the type T as in Tom, and everything else here should be fine. And notice that the default units is Fahrenheit, so that's what we're hoping to see eventually on the screen. Let's go to data tags on the left. I'll click here, data tags on the left, and whenever you set up I/O, you always want to create a tag first to map to that point, and then use that tag for all your graphics on the screens. So I'm going to create a numeric tag by just clicking this new tag button right here, and I'm going to rename this tag just by clicking on that box, or you can right click and go to rename, and I'll type temperature and then hit enter. Remember, anytime you type in our software, always remember to hit the enter key. Over here where it says source, hit the little pole down here, and I'm going to go down and select module 1 because that's what I set up in the lower left hand corner of Crimson. So I'll click module 1. I'm going to choose the input object, I'm going to choose the status group, and I'm looking for PV1, process variable 1, right there, and then I'll click the OK button. Notice when you do that, it puts in here module 1 input.pv1. The tag went from blue a second ago, which is internal, to green, read only. And just to get things off and running, I like to put that on the screen to see if I can display that. So I'll go down here to display pages. I will go now to the right side of Crimson, to data tags on the right side, and simply grab that temperature tag and drag and drop it. I like to put it down here in the lower left hand corner. And then here's a shortcut I always show off in class. If you take your mouse and click somewhere else so you don't have focus on anything, and then take your mouse and just hover over this particular tag, if you click one time, the little ghosted shortcut box should come up, and this button here will make the font much bigger, and this button here will bold it. Now click away. Notice the hazard signs. All that is telling me is that the element inside this box is too small, so I'll just click on this thing and I'll grab one of the corners and I'll stretch it a little bigger like so, just so it's a little bigger like that. Okay, now I'm using a Graphite screen here. I can't record that on this on the display, but I can record the web server part. So I'll go over here to web server, and I've got that connected to my Ethernet port, so I'll put here Graphite HMI, and I'll turn on the remote control in case we want to interact with it from our web page. Alright, let's go ahead and download this to our screen. So you can either do the link and do send, or you can do the Shazam button over here that I called in class. So let's go ahead and download this to our screen. And once the HMI comes up, I'm going to go ahead and go down to my web browser right here. And here's the web browser for that particular guy. Hit F5 to refresh it. The local address is 192.168.1.20. If I hit remote view, it brings up the current screen, and you can kind of see that the temperature right now is about 64. Well, it says 648, but it's really 664.5 or 65.0 degrees. So let's go fix that. We're going to go back to Crimson. If we go back to data tags on the left, this particular tag right here, I don't know why I did that, but and if we go to the format tab here, and then down here where it says format type general, hit the pick button right here, and we're going to declare this tag as numeric and click OK. And by declaring as numeric, we can give it decimal points before and after. So I'll put say 3 here, and I'll put 1 after. And then if I go to display pages, notice how right now, folks, the 0 looks like a standard 0. When I click on the screen, boom, it's going to refresh like so. And then if I hit the Shazam button to download it, here we go, we'll download that here. And we'll download to the screen. Let's go pull up our Internet Explorer here again. And this time, as soon as the page refreshes, there you can see I now get a decimal point in our temperature. Okay, so the goal of this is to actually show that thermometer that I've been teaching in class, go through the procedures setting that up. So I'm going to go back to data tags on the left. I'm going to kind of establish some rules right now. I've actually got a cup of ice water here next to my thermocouple, and I think I can get it down to, I don't know, maybe 20 degrees up to 100 degrees. So I'm going to put in here the minimum value for our test today is I'll put minimum 0, and I think the hottest I can get it today is about 100. So I'm actually going to put in the number 1000, which is going to be 100.0 without the decimal point. So I'll put it as 1000, keeping this in a numeric form instead of an integer, or instead of a real. We like to keep things in integer formats instead of reals to conserve on memory space. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll go over to display pages on the left. I'm going to build a thermometer. So I'm going to go over to the right side and click primitives on the right side here. Make this a little bigger maybe. And in the primitives, if I go into the core primitives, in the core primitives you got all these pre-built shapes and so forth. I'll click on the round circle here on top, and then I'm going to select maybe the round one, the red round one I should say, and I'll grab this guy and I'll drag it out here like this. And I might make this a little bigger. And then I'm going to make the stem off of the thermometer where the mercury will fill up. So I will go over to the right in my primitives, and I'll just go back or up one directory. And then I always like to use the rounded rectangle, which is the second row from the top over on the left. Click on the rounded rectangle one time, and then grab that same red one, and I'll drag it out like so. I'll place it here, and I'll take this guy and I'll stretch it up like this. And I might squeeze it just a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to make it something like this. So my goal of this is to have this part of the thermometer fill up with the values from the temperature. So if I double click on the stem part of our thermometer, and right here where it says fill mode block, hit the pull down here and choose fill from bottom, and then I just merely need to go over to the right side and grab the tag called temperature and drag and drop it right here in the value field. Notice, folks, that it grabs automatically the min and max that we previously set up at the temperature tag, which is nice. Because if you were to change the range of your temperature probe, you change it there, and then all your graphics will work or follow that accordingly. I'll click the OK button in the lower left hand corner. There it is. Now I see right here, if I take your mouse and you zoom in a little bit, you can actually, if you roll your mouse, you can see the screen. I don't want to see this white line here. Eventually I'll get rid of that, but I'd like to put also a scale on here, because no thermometer means anything if it doesn't have a scale on the side of it telling you whether you're at 50 degrees or 80 degrees or so forth. So I'm going to go over here to the right side in primitives and go up one directory. I'm still in the core primitives. There's an awful lot of stuff, good stuff you can do in here. And down below, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th row down below, right in the middle, is a thing called the vertical scale. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the vertical scale, and I'll drag it out here like this, and then I'll stretch it so that I'm looking for the bottom line, this 0 line right here, to kind of match up with this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you put it close like that, and then the same goes for the 100. I kind of want to make this line right here line up with this guy right here. Now I want to make sure that this scale follows that of my probe or my temperature sensor. So I'll double click on this guy, and I'll go to the data tab, and right here where it says config source, I'm just going to grab the temperature tag and actually drag it out here like so, and then it's going to get the values for min and max from the temperature tag. And I'll click OK. And there it is on the screen, and I'll go ahead and download this to my HMI. And once we get it downloaded, we'll go ahead and pull up the web page again here. Here's the web page. And there you can see my temperature on there, and if I take my thermocouple away from my cup of water here and just go ahead and squeeze it, you can kind of see the value will kind of slowly rises up and down, up to there, and then if I stick it in my water, it drops way down to a low cold temperature like so, and then it'll rise back up. So that's just a quick demo of how to build the thermometer. Oh, I want to show you, I do want to turn off this white line right here, so I'll go back to Crimson, and I'll simply double click on my bar chart, and down here where it says edge format, I will turn that off, which will then make it look like, and you see there's still a little bit of round edge here, so if you highlight that thing and just move a couple pixels down, like I did like 5, I'll do the same thing with this thing. And now if I go ahead and download it, and go back to our web page, we should see that it looks more continuous now, like a thermometer. And as I squeeze it, you can see the temperature goes up and so forth. So that's just a quick demo of how to do the thermometer section of our class. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.